Today, we're flying on Mexico's most controversial airline. As well as being Mexico's oldest airline, Mexicana has had a legacy of serving holiday travel. They were a competitive player in Mexico's holiday industry, as they also offered full tourist packages complementing their flights, such as hotels and restaurant meals, until they filed for bankruptcy protection and ceased operations entirely in August of 2010. After several unsuccessful attempts to restructure and revive the company, Mexican federal court officially declared Mexicana bankrupt in April 2014, marking the end of its operations. Until its relaunch in December 2023, and that's where they are currently. What's going on, guys? Casey Flower here. We'll see if the airline was really worth bringing back, or if we think they're just gonna go bankrupt again. So, let's go check in. The plan today is to take them on the hour-and-a-half flight from Monterrey, where we left off on a 737-300 last time, to Mexico City tonight, and after a quick rest, we'll continue with them to Guadalajara in the morning. Mexicana does allow online check-in, and it's actually pretty straightforward. After selecting yourself as the one traveling, we'll agree that we won't be safety issues on board. All in Spanish, respectfully. After selecting seats, which were a free selection in the fare type I paid for, but are only $7 or 135 pesos, in the most restrictive and economical base fare, where you have to add everything on by hand. Anyway, after seats, check-in is complete and your boarding pass is then available digitally. While I waited for my inbound aircraft to arrive, I ordered a quick sit-down dinner. Man, I love being American. Alright friends, we made it to the gate and the aircraft is sitting out there. It's too dark to get a shot of it sitting there, but it's out there. Boarding is actually about 15 minutes late right now. We're supposed to start at 8:05. It's pushing like 8:25 right now. But there's also not that many people in the boarding area on the flight that I can see. I only counted about 20, which, take that as you will. 20 people, not that many people paying to get on the flight, and you're not getting that much revenue. But also 20 people, it's not going to take that long to board, and we can possibly get out early if boarding ends up getting delayed long enough. But there you go. Just like the check-in process of any other low-cost carrier, Mexicana is no different, where the lowest and most economical, cheapest fare, bear fare, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing with Mexicana as it is with any other ultra low-cost carrier. And with the checked bag situation and seat situation, the only thing you're allowed on is the free personal item right there. So I have my backpack. I'm a light traveler, so all I need is my backpack, and I am only paying for what I need there. And with any carry-on or checked bag, you're just going to have to pay an extra fee for that. And as I mentioned, for seat selection, if you want a window seat or any seat, window, aisle, whatever, it's going to be 139 pesos or $7. And it can also be anywhere on the plane too. Rows 3 through like 30. So it helps pretty much anywhere on the plane that's available. So that's really nice. But yeah, hopefully we start boarding in the next about 10, 15, hopefully not 20 minutes. But yeah, again, only 20 people. It's not going to take us that long to get them on. Boarding ended up getting delayed a very close 30 minutes. So basically we got on with only 15 minutes left until gate departure. But then again, not that many passengers.
Hola, how are you?
X-Ray Alpha Alpha Tango Mike would be the 9-year-old Boeing 737-800 we would be on to AIFA, and she was delivered brand new to the Mexican Air Force if anyone in October 2016, then got moved to civil use with Mexicana in December of 2023. After hiking toward the back, I got to my home for the next 2 hours down to AIFA, seat 20F. As like most standard economy seats, 20F has a width of 17 and a pitch of 32. Alright, we are boarded on the Mexicana 737-800 with some very flickery lights up there. First impressions on the seat, yeah, it's a pretty standard economy seat. Standard width, standard pitch down there. Looks like a carpet. I don't know, feels like a carpet too. But yeah, the thickness is pretty standard. I was gonna say a little on the thin side, but it feels okay for now. It looks like we have a channel and volume control buttons on the armrest there. So this used to have an IFE, or has an IFE, because this doesn't have an IFE. I looked on seat specs and there's no IFE, so the channel and volume buttons are kind of just hanging there. Unless there's some sort of like audio channel thing, but I doubt it. But no, yeah, pretty standard economy seat we have here. And they're just finishing up boarding all of our 20, maybe 25 people. But yeah, we're chilling. Got the whole row there, plus one dude at 20A. But there you go. We'll be pushing back here for an on-time departure and making our way down to AIFA. And yeah, we're out of the gate right on time. That delay meant nothing. Oh hey, there's the ground crew plane spotting us. Let's spot back. Alright friends, we are airborne out of Monterey and on our way down to Mexico City with an absolutely beautiful night. It is out there tonight, very peaceful, but you may have noticed when we boarded the aircraft that we had a little bit of a first class cabin up there with 8 seats, 2 rows. But I think the only difference between the first class cabin up there and our economy cabin back here is just the bigger seats with more width, more legroom, and the big center armrest, and that's really it. You may get free drinks and snacks, maybe a meal. They're gonna come through with a snack and drink cart, or at least a drink cart, here in a little bit. I saw them go by with one. But yeah, maybe you'll get something complimentary from that, or more from that. But as far as stuff like the Wi-Fi goes, there is not any. I went into the Wi-Fi settings and there was nothing. And I wasn't really expecting there to be either, but I went in to see if there was anything and there was nothing. So there's that. There may be in-seat power up there. I didn't see it when I boarded, but I wouldn't count on it, honestly. There's definitely not any in-seat power back here, and definitely no IFE. All that goes without saying. But you know what? It is what it is. It's an hour and a half we have the seat for, hour-long flight, and probably for the maximum of like 2 hours you'll be on here. As far as the seat thickness goes so far, yeah, it's fine. It could be a little bit more thicker. It's a little on the thin side, but it's pretty standard overall for an economy seat with pretty much anyone. Thickness is pretty good, and the cushioning is, again, so far so good. Feels okay. The fabric feels a little different than what you would expect on a typical airline seat, but it's there. It's okay. It works for now. But we'll soon see what we get from that service car they're bringing back.
Do you want something?
Yeah, what do you have?
You need to pay.
Pay? Okay, thank you.
With card, debit or credit?
Debit.
Debit. So only we have cookies and tea and coffee.
Cookies.
Cookies?
Cookies.
Only cookies?
Yes, thank you. So for drinks, just coffee? For the beverage, just have coffee to drink? Okay, yeah, cookies is fine.
Chocolate and what? Marshmallow. And chocolate.
This one. That one.
We have coffee, only decaf.
Okay, got it. Just the cookies are fine for now. Alright, snack time on board the Mexicana 737-800 with these sort of vanilla cookies here. Yeah, it was not complimentary. It was 40 pesos, which is about $2, which isn't that much for a big thing of cookies like that. Also, with only about 25 passengers, the airline could probably use the money. So you know what the heck. I'll be a good person and give them the 40 pesos. But there we go. Go ahead and give it the taste test and see how the Mexicana cookies taste. Yeah, you can definitely taste the vanilla, which is a good thing because I like the taste of vanilla. But yeah, there we go. Can't complain. It's also a pretty big thing of cookies too. That was just one, and I didn't even eat the entire thing there. So there are, I believe, 20 cookies in here? I don't know. But yeah, it's obviously not just the one. There's gonna be a bunch more in there that we can take out. But yeah, just that or just $2 for all of these. Not bad. The snack situation on Mexicana isn't bad. Also, the only options we had for beverages was just coffee, not even any water, but literally just coffee, which I think is also complimentary, or not complimentary. But yeah, we'll see what we get tomorrow morning with our day flight to Guadalajara and see if we get anything else to drink other than the coffee. Alright, the engines are periodically spewing back and the vertical speed is decreasing. We're pretty well into our descent into Mexico City. Yeah, that was a pretty uneventful flight. Just the single service cart with the cookie selections and the single coffee selection as the one beverage. But yeah, despite them giving us a lot of selections for cookies, I mean, I still have a lot left in my container they gave me. I still have like 6 left in there, which I'll gladly take for the road off the plane. I wish they would have given us at least water, because I would have paid for water easily to wash down that vanilla taste out of my mouth. Even though I said I liked it, I would still wanted some water to wash it down. But you know what are you gonna do? You gotta bring that kind of stuff on with you. So all they give out to you is coffee. Like I said, maybe they'll give you stuff on other flights, like the one we have in the morning to Guadalajara. Maybe we'll have more than just coffee. I doubt it, but maybe. We'll see later in the video, so stick around for that. But yeah, maybe I would think at least, the snacks and beverage is free up in the first class cabin, because that would be included in your first class fare for that. But again, all that is would just be free snacks and bigger seats, when really you would already be paying for the snacks and beverage in the first class cabin, because that's already included in that fare, but you're just adding on that fare in this economy cabin. But really, who needs those bigger seats when you got all this? Chances are it's going to be a pretty empty plane. But there you go. We're going to be on the ground here in about 10 minutes, and I'll see you guys on the ground in Mexico City. Have a good one. Have a good one. Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, 16 people on that whole flight. I don't know about this one. Perfect. And it's ready now? Ta- Hola. Hola. Gracias. Okay, how are you tonight, sir?
How you doing tonight? Good.
I'm doing good today. How are you?
You pay with card?
Yeah, with card, if that's okay. And then I also need transportation back to the airport in the morning. Will that be a problem?
What time?
8-ish.
8?
Yeah, 7, 8, yeah. Keys? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Cheers. You know what? I had my doubts about this location in the city. It was extremely ghetto coming over here. But as soon as I found the apartment, it's actually pretty nice. And yeah, this is a full-on apartment, not even a hotel room. Kitchen there, a full-on dining room here, living room here, and a whole bunch of doors here. This is the bedroom, or a bedroom, the bedroom or a bedroom, yeah. There's a bedroom, and then behind here, another bedroom. Yeah. There you go. And then, there you go. Bathroom, I would think. Yeah, there you go. Bathroom, shower. Little bit overkill for the 8 hours I'm here, but for 47 US dollars, I think it'll do. All right, it's about 1 minute to midnight, and I'm gonna go to bed and try to get as much rest as possible for tomorrow. And wake up, shower, and catch an 8 a.m. cab to the airport. By the time we get there, we'll have just about an hour and a half between then and boarding for our flight to Guadalajara. So in preparation for that, like I said, get rest, wake up, shower, probably eat those cookies we have left over as a breakfast tomorrow. They even gave us waters for that too, to wash that down too, actually, if anything. But yeah, I'm gonna go to bed and I'll see you guys later this morning. Alright, it's 10 minutes until 8 in the morning, and let's go get the taxi to go meet the plane at the airport. Also, there's a leak in the ceiling above the shower, and there's a pretty good chance that that shower did not have hot water. But on the bright side, I actually slept pretty good. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you. Morning. Thank you. Alright, just cleared TSA, and if I didn't get that apartment last night, this would not have been a bad terminal to spend the night in. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would have rather had the apartment, but still, this place has a lot of room. Anyway, I think I know what I want. When life gives you donuts, take them. 2 maple and Coca-Cola Light. X-Ray Alpha Alpha Whiskey Mike will be our second 737-800 that we'll be on, and she was also delivered to the Mexican Air Force in November 2016, then onto Mexicana in January of 2024. Alright, we are at the boarding gate for our flight to Guadalajara. We actually have the same aircraft that we came in on last night, parked at the gate right next to ours. That's heading out to Tulum. It would be kind of cool if we were on the same plane again that we came in on, but we're on a different plane, so I guess we're just getting the best of both worlds there. I'm seeing a lot more people in the boarding area for this flight over to Guadalajara, 50, 60, maybe even 70, so a little bit more full, but again, 60, 70 isn't a lot for a 150, 180 seat 737, or however many is on board. So it's still pretty empty, but we'll see how full it ends up getting once we get on board. I made it to 4F, whereas like last time, it has a width of 17, a pitch of 32, and a recline of 3. Alright friends, we are boarded on the Mexicana 737-800 over to Guadalajara. I took another look at that first class cabin, this time when boarding, and it did look like there was in-seat power, so there was universal power at all the seats. So I would think that you would be able to charge your device battery if you sat up there, so that along with the free snacks and drinks, as those are included in that first class airfare, as I mentioned earlier. So pretty much the same thing you would get on most like domestic first class products on domestic carriers. But yeah, it's pretty standard, all in all. But yeah, the boarding area got filled up pretty quick as the boarding time got closer. So I don't know about me having my own row to myself, but we'll see what happens with that as the departure time gets closer. We are airborne out of Mexico City and on our way over to Guadalajara. Yeah, this flight is pretty much completely full. My row ended up filling up, but hey, what do you expect on a busy route like Mexico City to Guadalajara? I did see them start to come through with a service car, so there might be something that they'll try to get through to everyone on this quick hour flight. So we can maybe see if we can get anything else from the service cart other than just the single coffee drink or those few cookie selections like we had on the last flight. It'd be nice to see them give out other beverage choices too, other than just the coffee. But yeah, those cookie choices were still nice that we had on the last flight. But if and when they get to us, we can see what we get and if it's any different than what we had. Alright, I just had to reach out to them as they're at my row to see what they had. And yeah, they did have more selection for snacks. They had a lot more selections for the cookies. And they had a couple more drink selections. They offered lager, water, and I believe coffee. When I asked them about what they had, they did not say coffee, but I saw coffee thermos on the cart, so I would think coffee. But yeah, I asked them and they just said they had beer and water for drinks. But you know what, it is what it is. It actually makes more sense to have the lager on the night flight last night and the coffee on the flight this morning, and not the other way around. Lager on this one, coffee last night. But hey, what are you gonna do? It was cool seeing that we had a lot more choices for the cookies and snacks. But yeah, we're getting pretty close to Guadalajara, so I'll use the rest of the flight on the way in to rate it using my channel original rating system. I call it the Raleigh rating scale because my first name is Raleigh. If you're new here, I use this flight to rate and review my flights at the end of every one of my airline reviews with 6 different categories to see how well the airline did at each. But if you're not new here, yeah, we're already here. You made it this far. Good job. So, on the rest of the way in, we'll go ahead and see how Mexicana did today. The service was a 10 out of 10. Everyone was very friendly and welcoming. On the empty flight, they were very patient to give me a thorough rundown of the snacks and beverages they would serve. On the quicker and significantly more full flight to Guadalajara, they were quick and efficient in getting to serving everyone in the time they were given. The cleanliness was a 10 out of 10. The Boeing Sky interior made the cabin look beautiful, especially at night. The seats were also spotless, despite their strange look. The Wi-Fi was a 0 out of 10, as none was available on any of the flights. The food was an 8 out of 10. As the no frills, only pay for what you need structure suggests, everything was buy on board and appropriately priced for the economy passengers. It was nice to see that there was a significantly more cookies available for snacks on the flight during the day. I didn't hate the slightly larger drink selection on the second leg either, but it would have been nice to either have more than just beer, water, or maybe even a coffee during the day flight. It also would have been nice to have a menu in our seat back pocket just to give us our options. Depending on the person, it makes a little sense to just have coffee in the evening and beer in the morning, but it just wouldn't be my first choice. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about them having more drink selection on the other flights. The entertainment was a 0 out of 10, as there was no Wi-Fi, IFE, or entertainment browser of any sort was available on any of the flights, despite the armless audio controls, so nothing was provided by the airline. The seat was an 8 out of 10. It looked a little weird, but yeah, it definitely got the job done, and it was comfortable. It had the standard economy seat thickness, width, pitch, and recline. There was just no IFE or in-seat power that shipped with the seat, so download content. So the overall rating for the airline is going to be a 6 out of 10. Have a good one. I'll see ya. Bye. Thank you. All in all, I ended up paying $112 and 74 cents, about 2,198 pesos, including all add-ons for both these flights, making it pretty normal for almost any airline connection of this distance. Alright, welcome to Guadalajara. Feels pretty cool to be back. I was here when I covered Viva Aerobus in Volaris. Came down here for a quick turnaround one day and went back up to the US all in the same day. But yeah, my final thoughts on Mexicana. It was pretty okay for what it was. Pretty standard, low-cost carrier, honestly. Yeah. It was nice seeing that it was a more full flight coming over here to Guadalajara. Pretty much every seat was filled. And they all decided to choose to fly on Mexicana for that competitive route. But yeah, as far as the one last night went, coming into Mexico City, yeah, it was 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. Nobody's gonna want to travel then. But yeah, it was what it was. I thought it was pretty okay. But yeah, I'll fly out of here on the next airline to my next destination, which you guys gotta stick around for that. So I look forward to bringing you guys on then for the next adventure. Bye for now.